evening. We're going to call the meeting to order. Let's all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening. This is the Monroe Township Board of Education special meeting for June 1st, 2022. Can we please have a roll call?
Ms. Arminio? Ms. Belko?
Here.
Ms. Bierman?
Here.
Ms. Bora?
Here.
Mr. Chiarella?
Here.
Ms. Fabiano? Mr. Nicotinsky?
Here.
Ms. Ratner? Mr. Vutsky? Ms. Gerby?
Here.
Madam President, you have a quorum.
Thank you.
In accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, the Monroe Township Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published and electronic notice provided by having the date, time, and place thereof posted May 27, 2022, at all schools, on the district website at monroe.k12.nj.us, published in the Home News Tribune, published in the Cranberry Press, and filed with the clerk of the municipality.
Thank you. Okay, next we're going to need to appoint a temporary board secretary for the closed session.
Motion to appoint Ms. Bierman as
Second that.
secretary.
Yeah, I'll third it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions, recusals? Okay, then it is Mrs. Bierman. All right, next on our agenda is our closed session resolution. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Township of Monroe hereby moves into closed session in accordance with the Sunshine Law, Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, NJSA 10:4-6 through 10:4-21, to discuss the following subjects: superintendent search, deliberation on applicants, and survey results. Following the closed session, action may be taken. The discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public at such time as need for confidentiality no longer exists. Can I get a motion?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Recusals? Abstentions? Okay. We are going to now move into closed session. I would estimate probably a good
6 hours.
hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of discussion. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move back into our public session.
Ms. Gerby, before you go on, can we just have the record reflect that Ms. Arminio joined the group
Yes.
right after we went into closed session?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So in our closed session, we had received 296 surveys from our community, which I think is wonderful. We've reviewed them all. We made a list of questions to ask our candidates based on the survey input, and we have reviewed all of the applications we received, and we have selected 5 to interview. We will start our interview process at our next special meeting on June 14th. The next item on our agenda is our public forum. If there's anybody from the public wishing to speak, you have 4 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi there again. Elizabeth Hance, 712A Sussex Way in Rossmore. Nice to see everyone. I actually just have 3 points. One, again, I brought this up at the last meeting, and I understand these are special meetings, and I understand you're working on personnel issues. But again, if this whole thing about having your closed session, which you know is going to be a lengthy closed session before the public forum, strikes me as just a way of discouraging anyone from being here to speak at the public forum. I raised this issue last special meeting, and I will continue to raise it as long as you continue to schedule your agenda this way. The second point that I'd like to make is, in light of the most recent mass school shooting, and I say that most recent because they seem to be becoming increasingly commonplace these days, and I don't want us to become inured to them. I am concerned that at the, I think is it the 11th meeting, I can't quite remember, when the decision was made to not renew the contract of the security officer.
Excuse me, you'll have to speak to the agenda, and that is inaccurate information. We did not vote to not renew somebody. That was not part of
All right.
our agenda.
Let me
And we do have to, you have to speak to the agenda.
All right, in that case, I will just go to the last thing that you just mentioned. Regarding these, you received how many, I know it's not Q&A, but how many responses?
296.
296.
Many from the same IP address, though.
All right, at this point, I'm sure you don't know whether that came, the majority from within the school system, in other words, you know, parents, teachers, and how much of it was actually from community residents, because community residents, frankly, did not get a lot of notice about this. If I wasn't paying attention on Facebook pages, I would not have known, because I don't go looking at websites. Who does? So I'm, you know, to me that is just a concern. Although 296, I suppose, is not a shabby number. I'm just going to go on record and just read you what my two responses were, just to make sure that they are a matter of record. In terms of the most important qualification, I felt that the most important qualification is that whoever ends up getting selected has basically extensive former administrative experience, particularly in a school system that looks like Monroe Township. In other words, it's growing, it's becoming culturally more diverse, and obviously has a number of issues such as the overcrowding issues that you're dealing with. So I would like to see somebody that has very extensive experience similar to what Monroe Township is going through. And again, my question is, my second question was, they said, could you ask a question? I did say that I would ask the question to an applicant, in terms of asking them, who do you see as the stakeholders in public education? It's not just the students, it's not just the teachers, it's including those of us in the community that are taxpayers and want to actually see a quality public education provided. And so I would ask them, having identified those stakeholders, what expertise do you provide? Ooh, I'm out of time. Goodbye.
Thank you. And just a quick comment about what you had said about our survey. The survey did go out to all of the parents in our school community, as well as any community member that has signed up through the years for our school newsletter. We have made that available for many, many years to sign up to receive emails from the district. Additionally, I had reached out to the mayor's office and asked if the township could help us like they did with our previous survey back in January, our communication survey. And they said they would do that as well. They put that out on their Facebook page, and I believe they were sending that out through their township news. Again, another avenue that the township has asked residents to sign up for if they so wish to be informed, to give their email address to have that sent to them. I know several community members that do not have students in our school district that did receive it and did fill it out. So unfortunately, this has been an issue throughout our school, throughout our community for many, many years, is reaching people that, how do you reach somebody who is not active in trying to reach us, right? How do we reach out to community? And I think we're doing a great job in tag teaming our lists along with the township lists and trying to work together to reach as many community members as we possibly can. So thank you for your comments. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Sarah Aziz, 3 Lancelot Drive. Given that it's been over 10 months since Dr. Alvik announced her departure from our district, our school board has had plenty of time to hire a professional search firm to help them find a highly qualified permanent superintendent. Instead, after receiving over a dozen resumes, our board only interviewed 2 candidates in September and chose Sherry Shanley, who failed to earn the recommendation of the county superintendent, Kyle Anderson. In an October 29th email, Mr. Anderson advised the board to appoint someone else. The board rejected his advice and sought state approval instead. The Commissioner of Education granted this approval for 3 months until February 10th. On November 23rd, the board removed all job postings for superintendent, making no effort to search for a qualified permanent superintendent. When the Commissioner of Education granted another 3-month extension on February 9th, she made it clear that she expected the board to have a permanent superintendent in place by May 11th, 2022. The Monroe Township Board of Education defied the Commissioner of Education and failed to do the work necessary to comply with her request. Instead, the board signed a limited services agreement with New Jersey School Boards Association that was signed in mid-March, which only required the NJSBA to provide them with a pool of qualified candidates. In contrast, the Livingston Board of Ed hired the NJSBA for a more comprehensive array of services. According to a news article, in an effort to collect community-wide feedback from all key stakeholders, the Livingston School District hosted a public forum for residents to attend both in person and online. An NJSBA official working with the Livingston Board met with several stakeholder groups, including staff, PTA, and other residents, to collect feedback that was synthesized into a report for the board along with the results of an online survey. Back in 2017, South Brunswick also had a comprehensive superintendent search process that heavily involved the community. At the time, their board president stated, "We hired a knowledgeable search consultant. We invested countless hours reviewing resumes, interviewing candidates, and debriefing. We instituted an extensive online survey to gather staff and community input. We included community members in the first round of interviews." These two school boards fulfilled their responsibility to the students and taxpayers by making an honest, good faith effort to find a qualified superintendent. In contrast, the Monroe Board of Ed sought no community input until the Commissioner of Education forced them to do it in her May 13th letter granting another contract extension for Ms. Shanley. Even then, the board sent out a poorly worded survey with no prior notice that included only 2 questions. The NJSBA recommended that community surveys be publicized in advance and include 7 or 8 questions, and recommended that the board establish a survey committee to oversee the process. This board did no such thing. Our board does not respect the recommendations of the county superintendent, the Commissioner of Education, or the New Jersey School Boards Association. In fact, this board shows a contempt for government agencies that have oversight over them. I urge the board to sign another contract with the NJSBA to further involve them in the interview process, which, like the South Brunswick process, should include members of the public in these interviews. There needs to be transparency about what's also going on in our business office. How long would Mr. Gorski's suspension last? Why hasn't the acting business administrator been present
You have
for the
to
last...
speak to the agenda, Mrs. East. That is not
Well-
part of the agenda.
Well,
Thank you.
Well, I want to know what the board intends to do to improve transparency and further involve the community in the superintendent search process.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Is there anybody else wishing to speak? Seeing none, we will close the public forum. Our next scheduled Board of Education meeting will be a special meeting on June 14th, 2022. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Third, fourth.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you and have a good night.